Okay.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. And our conversation this morning with Derrick Barnes is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. The book is Baseball, Amazing but True Stories by Newbery Honor winner Derrick Barnes. And Derrick, good morning. How are you?
Pretty good, Todd. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm looking at this book, and this is really, you're Derrick Barnes. This is a barnstorming tour that you get to do now, and we should have been talking last spring at the start of the baseball season. We're talking in the summer at the start of the baseball season, and that's okay by me because we're talking baseball. And what a book you've put together here. This is for young readers, and what's the motivation? This is the first time really that you've gone this route, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been a children's book author since my first books came out in 2004, and I'm most notably known for writing picture books and chapter books and fiction. This is my first nonfiction project. I approached this publishing company with a historical sports fiction type series. They decided not to publish that, but they liked my writing style. So they asked if I was interested in doing a nonfiction series where I just wrote about the three most popular sports in the country, and obviously baseball, basketball, and football. Mm-hmm. And asked if I would take it on. And I like to take on a good challenge. I'm one of those Sports Center kind of guys. I pretty much keep up with every sport. But football is probably my most favorite sport. But even more than that, I'm a big history fan. You know, I understand that history is not just about our past. You know, history is the biggest indicator of our present and also, our future. So I dove in head first, and it's been a lot of fun, just collecting all this information. And
we get reacquainted with some of the great stories from our own youth when we were growing up. Of course, being Pittsburgh and big old Pirates fans, the immediate need for us is to find out something new about Roberto Clemente. You have a special chapter on Roberto Clemente in this book.
Yeah, he's a very fascinating player. Probably one of the best 5-tool players that could do it all. But obviously one of the biggest, if not the biggest Latinx player of all time, but he was such a good player and a good role model on and off the field. He joined the 3,000 hit club, which is a very exclusive club in MLB history, and that 3,000 hit was actually his last hit of all time. That was his last regular season hit. In December of that year, while he was on a mission to send goods to people who were affected by earthquake in Nicaragua, he actually died in a plane crash. Mm-hmm. That was just 3 months after his last baseball game. And but even more than his baseball acumen, I think he will go down as being remembered as just being a good human being and using his popularity and his fame to help people who were less fortunate. So
yeah, it's
definite legend, man.
One of the absolute great stories ever in all of sports, and really in all of history. The way that Roberto Clemente persevered, and we revere him here in this Pittsburgh area, and it's great to know that he is just so well thought of inside and outside of baseball circles. Derrick, how did you go about deciding upon the topics? Because you're all over the board with this book. You give us some great stories, and I know there's tons of stuff to choose from, but why did you narrow in on these particular ones?
Well, I'm the hallmark of my writing style is, most of my books are aimed at African American boys or just boys, period. And when you're writing for boys, and I know that there are a lot of girls that are sports fans, but I just try to infuse my writing style. And what I try to do is write very quickly and have and not inundate the kids with a lot of boring information. So I said I'm going to write like 75 essays, which is pretty much what they all are. And then I narrowed it down to like 45. And then I divided the chapters up. I just wrote 4 short chapters. And the first one is Pivotal Players, where obviously I talk about these unheralded pillars of the sport the kids may not know. The second chapter It's sensational stories, just fascinating tales that they may not know as well. Chapter 3 is Radical Records, and of course, for all baseball fans know baseball is all about stats, all about numbers. And the 4th chapter is Colossal Comebacks, where I talk about players and even teams who suffer through a lot in order to pull themselves up and get back out there, play it again. A team that was down by maybe a few points and found a way to claw back into it. Everybody loves a good comeback story. So each and every book in this series will have this same format. And like I said, the baseball book was just so much fun to write.
I bet. And, you know, there's a story in here about Eric Davis, and I remember his career so well. You know, he played for the Reds and some of the other teams. Never got his name on the back of a Bucco uniform. It would have been great to have him, but he's the kind of guy that needs to be celebrated and can disappear into history without people really thinking about what a great ball player he was. But what about a guy who perseveres? And absolutely, Eric Davis was one of those. He was one of my favorites. I love this story about Satchel Paige, too, facing down Josh Gibson in the 1942 Negro League World Series. Where'd you come across that story?
Well, you know, I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri. Mm-hmm. And when I think I was around 10, man, they built a baseball stadium right around the corner from my house, maybe like 4 or 5 blocks away, and it's the Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium. I didn't know about the Negro Leagues, you know. I didn't know about Satchel Paige, and there was a library. The library is right down the street from the baseball diamond. So I went and I did a ton of research at 10 years old about the Negro Leagues, found out who Satchel Paige was, and he is viewed by a lot of, you know, baseball historians as possibly being the greatest pitcher of all time. He never got a chance to play until he was in the major leagues because black players were not allowed to play, obviously, until the 40s. But he was allowed to enter the league, and he was a rookie in his 40s. And he played for the Cleveland Indians, and he actually helped them win a World Series championship. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Satchel Paige.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was pitching into his late 50s, and just amazing. Yeah. Tell me about your illustrator for this book.
Oh, man. Well, how it usually goes is, you know, authors write the book first, and the publishing company matches you up with the illustrator. Mm-hmm. I guess it depends on how popular or how experienced the author is. If you can choose your own illustrator, I didn't choose the illustrator for this project, but they gave me a list of illustrators to choose by, and his illustrations, John Bonet, just jumped out at me. He's the most popular for doing a lot of, you know, Tom and Jerry cartoons. Yeah. And the action scenes in this book are very beautiful, and the colors that he chose really pop out at you. I just think he did an excellent job.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous book. Young readers are just going to love this. How do they get it? Amazon, I would assume, and any other place that sells books?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and any local independent bookstore that is in your city. So, yeah, it's available. It came out in March, and I'm just glad that baseball is back, man. Yeah, because I have 4 sons, so I feel for these kids who are looking forward to T-ball season, softball, little league, you know, even the high school and college kids, man. So, you know, baseball's back, and things will get back to normal, and you guys will get back out there on that field, man.
Here it is. Absolutely. It's called Who Got Game? Baseball, Amazing But True Stories. Derrick Barnes, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Have a great day.
Good day.